Welcome back. Najib, let me come back to you to continue from where we stopped.
I think the government and the banks, they have to make money. They're offering services, and for them to offer these services, they have to put in place some things. You understand? And they are offering these services so that their customers can use them. So I'm in support of the banks charging for their services. Now, if the government wants to make some money from people who run bank accounts, from people who have money, there's a way they can do this thing rather than the stamp duty they are charging now. I've always said that the ATM charges, there was a time that the CBN said banks should not charge for ATM transactions. You know, I don't own a bank. You know, sometimes when I talk about these things, people feel, oh, I'm backing somebody. I don't own a bank. I don't profit from bank transactions. But I said it back then that it would not work. And what happened was that when the banks realized they're not making money from their ATM machines, they stopped servicing them. You go to a bank branch and there are like 5 ATM machines at night and none has cash in it, you know. So it was necessary for them to reintroduce the ATM transaction charges. But I felt 65 naira was too little. I would have preferred 100 naira. 100 naira will make it easy, and even the government themselves, if they want to make money, they can say, okay, from the 100 naira the banks are charging, they get to keep maybe 5 naira each. I am not in support whatsoever of this stamp duty charge. I don't even know what they are stamping.
So I'm not very convinced as to the legality of the charge. First and foremost, I think it should be tested in court. The court needs to make a definitive statement about this as to whether bank transactions are part of COT charges, are part of the transactions that that should be charged stamp duty. I think that should be tested by the court, but it doesn't look legal to me. For the 65 naira ATM charge, I think I would align with what the gentleman before me said. It's more like a way of trying to recover the cost of operating those ATMs, because they feel, I'm sure the banks believe that the cost of operating those ATMs are quite expensive and they need to recover the cost somehow, which is what I think is the rationale behind it. Now, there's nothing, of course, preventing the CBN from, or preventing the banks from trying to recover those costs. So I won't say I have much to say with regard to that. I would say they have the right to put those charges. But my main concern had been with the one about the stamp duty. Saying that it's an implementation of the Stamp Duty Act does not feel right to me, and I think it should be challenged in the court of law.
Now, there's a very specific procedure to go about introducing a new tax, a new federal tax in the country. It goes through the National Assembly, and there's a reason for that. We need to get a consensus and agree that we want to pay this tax, and that the tax makes sense to us as citizens. Therefore, the stamp duty tax that was introduced, I looked at the act that was referred to, and I know that there was a court case around this, which seemed to authorize the CBN to go ahead. Now, personally, I don't agree with charging the stamp duty act, but it looks like the courts have spoken. Do we want to challenge the legality of that? The banks actually took this CBN to court over this matter, if I recall correctly.
The pronouncement I heard was that the charges were only meant for current accounts, but I heard that some people complained that even their savings accounts have been charged. I don't know if anybody heard about it. I don't know how true it is.
No, so I explained that. I explained that earlier. That there can be problems around implementation. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I was saying that there can be problems around implementation, and I explained why.
Okay.
The banking applications that these banks rely on are very complex, and when a directive like that comes out and says do it immediately, it becomes an issue when they try to implement. Sometimes they might not get it right the first time, and when feedback like this comes, they go back and they tweak it until they get it right. But okay, I think regulators also need to understand this and give the banks appropriate timelines for them to be able to implement things. Yes.
Government is not working hard enough to say, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't charge this. I feel that if we fight, like Nosa is saying, if we fight these charges, if we go to court and drag these issues, that the banks will have no choice. Once they have little places to maneuver, even the government needs to allow the banks, if coming in with this stamp duty charge, it makes the bank feel like we can also charge all sorts of things. But like I said, if the people is affecting want to go to court, we'll support, and everybody, Nigerians will come out and say no to this stamp duty thing. I don't see any justification.
If people, especially in the informal sector, traders and market women, are going to be encouraged to open bank accounts and begin to do more transactions through the banking system, maybe the question we need to ask ourselves is whether any of these policies is a disincentive to that. Are we driving these people out to leave the banking sector and go back to operating savings accounts through a colo or whatever?
All right, guys, that's it on this segment of the program. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be getting more analysis on this topic. Please stay with us.